All right, everyone, welcome. Dr. Greg here. We're going to get started talking about metabolism, which is a huge topic. And I guess the mindset with this is that right away you think metabolism, we're talking about weight loss, or like people are like, I want to lose weight. That's the most common thing people want to do. But I just want to give a big picture view here that your metabolism is involved with all the cells, tissues, organs, and processes in your body, and that it's integral for you not only to burn fat, build muscle, feel better, but for every single process in your body, because everything in your body requires energy. And so the more energy you have, the better you're going to feel, the better things are going to run, the more efficiently your body is going to run, and that's going to decrease your need for medications, decrease your need really to be moving into the medical system for preventable diseases that we'll talk about. But first of all, let's see if I can get to the next slide here. There we go. We're going to talk about our purpose. So these are Dr. Chris and I, our three children. So this is Michael, our oldest, he's 5. This is Jake, who's 2, almost 2.5. And this is little baby Jocelyn. So as you can see, she looks like her older brothers. And they all are different in their own unique ways. We all love them in unique ways. And it's exciting to raise them up in this lifestyle, chiropractic and adjustments and healthy foods and just the vitality that comes with that. And just seeing them learn and ask questions, especially Michael, our oldest one, and how he understands how this all works. So this is really cool. So our purpose is to be the standard for natural healthcare where everyone is empowered to live to their full potential. And that's what it's about, is that these little guys, we want them to live to their full potential by taking care of their body, honoring the power that God already put in their body so that they can heal and be well. So there's going to be a lot of information, like a lot. And it's very easy to get overwhelmed. It's very easy to just kind of shut down or get emotional about it. It's like there's a switch in many of our brains when it comes to how much information we can take, and we all have it, including me, right? So I want to urge you to find your one thing. So one of my favorite books is called The One Thing by Gary Keller, and he owns Keller Real Estate. And it's all about when you're faced with a challenge or faced with moving to the next level, you want to get results for something, you ask yourself the question, what is the one thing that I could do such that everything else would be easier or unnecessary? So we're all going to do this tonight while you're, whether you're writing this down or whether you're listening to this and thinking to yourself, I want you to think to yourself as you're going through this, what is the one thing that you're going to do? Because as the little picture shows here, it's like a domino effect. Once you hit that first domino, the rest are going to start to fall, because what I don't want to happen is that you have 16 pages of notes, 25 different action steps, all these things that you want to do. And when you're given that much information, your brain gets overwhelmed and then you end up not doing anything. So I'll circle back to this in the very last slide, the very end of this talk. I'm going to ask you, what is your one thing? And then you'll write that down, and that's what you're going to focus on so that it just becomes more clear as you go. Okay. So as I was talking about, it's your, I don't know why that's digestion is over here, little mishap in the slide, but it's your metabolism is basically, think of it like a car. Your car needs to run, and it needs gas as the fuel. And that gas through the engine of the car, or the metabolism, is transferred from gas into energy, or into mechanical energy. So that chemical is turned into mechanical energy. It's essentially the same thing, but obviously a lot more complicated with your body, is that your body's taking in the food, your body's taking in the supplements and the vitamins and the minerals, turning that into those chemicals into mechanical energy. And then that is then used in virtually every cell, tissue, organ in your body. Here's the biggest problem though. Number one is that the fuel that we're giving ourselves in our country as a whole, the standard American diet, the acronym is SAD, it's high in bad fats, high in sugar, high in processed foods. So you're not putting the right kind of gas in the tank. So imagine it called for 87 octane and you're putting in like 35 octane. You're not going to be firing on all cylinders. Imagine the fuel is full of sludge. It's not processed properly. It's not it's not right. It's not made for the engine. Or imagine you're putting diesel fuel into a gasoline engine. It's not going to work right. And then for some people, we're sabotaging it so much. It's like, are we pouring water in the gas tank? Are we putting sugar in the gas tank? Are things seizing up? Like, a lot of it could come from the gas. But as we'll learn as we go here, is also a lot of it can come from how the engine is working or how your body is working. And that's governed a lot by your hormones. One of the biggest hormones we'll talk about is cortisol. And cortisol is known as your stress hormone. And it's no surprise that in the last 2 years, we have all faced more stress, I believe, than ever before. And this is a recent study that was done, and it found that 61% of people in the United States reported undesired weight gain in the last 2 years, averaging 29 pounds. If you remember, I think they called it like the COVID 10, like the 10-pound weight gain. Then it turned into the COVID 20. And now the average ended up being 29 pounds. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot. And did you know that for every 1 pound someone is overweight, it puts 4 pounds on the knees? I'm going to repeat that. For every 1 pound someone is overweight, it puts 4 pounds of pressure on their knees. So knee problems, hip issues, back problems. Obesity is tied to so many different metabolic syndromes and problems. The other thing is sleep, is that your metabolism works as you sleep. Your body heals and rejuvenates itself as you sleep. 2 and 3 reported new sleep issues, never mind the people who already had existing sleep issues. And this is a very sad stat. 1 in 4 people reported drinking alcohol in order to sleep better. Alcohol is a diuretic. Alcohol is a toxin. Listen, we all enjoy a beer here and there, or maybe a glass of wine or something like that. But if you're using it to cope, or you're using it and you become addicted to it, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. There's a gap that needs to be filled with something else much more healthy. 47%, this is a big one, 47% of people delayed or canceled healthcare services. So obviously I'm a chiropractor. When our practice was going through the pandemic, within 1 week, 40% of our patients stopped coming in. Like owning a business, imagine just from a pure business standpoint, 40% of your sales or 40% of your customer base gone, boom. So that's stress on people who own things like gyms, physical therapists, chiropractors, outpatient facilities. Never mind that people put off surgeries that they actually needed or healthcare that they actually needed, and that can lead to deleterious, bad effects. And then the other thing is, on the other side is, how many people stop going to the gym? How many people stop working out? How many people stop going to church, stop going to their health coaches? And when those habits were lost, they're harder to get back. 48% of people, I think this is a conservative number, reported higher stress levels. And the most shocking thing of all, 46% of Generation Z, the young people born 97 to 2012, this is, essentially young adults, high school age, say their mental health has worsened. And it's actually the worst number they've ever seen for that age gap. And people just aren't having joy, aren't having happiness. And because of that, it really affects hormones, which affects overall metabolism. So much so that now 88% of people, 88%, almost everyone, suffer from some sort of metabolic disease and don't even know it. So I want you to pay attention here. And I urge you to, not many times that you're learning or going through a lecture does someone urge you to have your phone, but I actually do, whether it's a notepad or your cell phone to take a picture, because I'm going to go fairly quickly through these slides. And just as a reminder, this will be recorded. So we'll be replaying it at the office, and we're also going to put it as a link on YouTube, and we can send out the link too. So you can go back, you can pause, and you can get the information reiterated to you. So here's some metabolism disorders. So people, when you think metabolism, when you think problems with your metabolism, people don't normally think of some of the things I'm going to talk about. People typically think, oh, bad metabolism, weight gain, or fat around the belly, or not able to exercise without being tired, something like that. So high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, autoimmune problems, thyroid, polycystic ovarian syndrome. We'll talk about that a little bit more in depth today. Infertility, Cushing's disease, which is like really when cortisol goes through the roof and it leads to a disease process that's Cushing's. Cancer, fatty liver disease, arthritis, chronic pain, and more. How are these all related to your metabolism? What I said at the start is that every cell, tissue, organ in your body needs energy. When it doesn't get energy, things start to break down, start to shut down, and those symptoms look like these. Okay. Now, for you now, it's like, okay, these are like, okay, you have actual disorders, disease process. Here's some symptoms you can look at. And if you're having one or more or two or more of these problems, this is a major issue. And you have to act now. It's urgent. This is your body whispering. And the saying is your body always whispers before it screams. So it's like back here on this slide, your body's screaming something. This is a disease process. This is a diagnosable condition. Your body's screaming for help. Well, this slide is just these subtle whispers, and some of them are louder than whispers, but fatigue, like if you're noticing that you are tired all the time, like you're tired in the day, like you need coffee, you need to drink tea, you need that energy drink, you feel like you're just exhausted, thyroid issues, suppressed appetite, like you're just, and I talk to people, it's almost surprising, like they get to a point where their metabolism becomes so wiped out that they're not even hungry anymore. And it's like they become trapped in their body and they're not losing weight, and they get to the point where they're not hungry. Cold hands and feet. If you feel like you're always having to put on extra layers, your hands are cold a lot, your feet are cold a lot, that's again, sign of lower energy, low libido or sex drive, PMS, bloating. So, we'll be talking about estrogen, progesterone, anxiety, and depression. So your brain needs obviously energy. It's a huge taker of energy in your body, or consumer of energy. And it doesn't give off the same types of symptoms as other areas where your back, you might have back pain, or you might have high blood pressure, or your brain can give you feedback like anxiety, depression, worry, guilt. Those are all signs that your brain is there's something missing, or there's an accumulation that you don't want. Hair loss, brittle nails, insomnia, trouble sleeping. I've been talking a lot this week about people who I know who have trouble either getting to sleep, staying asleep. If you're waking up in the middle of the night, that could be a hormonal issue, that could be a metabolic issue. And then again, obesity and irritability. So first thing I want you to do, you have your phone. On the left here, this is called a QR code. You don't have to have an app for this. You basically just pull out the camera on your phone. You don't have to take the picture, just point your camera on there and you should see like a little grabber things come up and point at it. And then you're going to see a link pop up and you'll click on that link. And this is what's called the lifestyle risk questionnaire. So again, I'll just give you a couple seconds here. Pull out your phone, hover your camera over that image on the left, the QR code. It's going to pull up a link. Pull up that link and you're going to save it for later, because it takes about 10, 15 minutes to fill out this lifestyle risk questionnaire. And it's going to give you a clear idea of kind of where you're at with risk factors based on your lifestyle, factors that you're going to punch in. That will also let Haley know. Haley is the health coach here at the office, and us know that you've completed that lifestyle risk questionnaire. And we can even go over that with you at an appropriate time at the office. And this will give you an idea kind of where you're at. And for the most of us, you kind of know where you're at, but this just kind of puts a graphic on it. So check that out. Okay. Metabolism is more than just weight loss. I can't reiterate that enough. It's about you being healthy. It's about having energy. It's about living to your best potential and just living your best life. So here's the 3 factors. Number 1, you have to eat the food. You're in control of that, direct control of that. Number 2, your body digests the food or breaks it down. Number 3, your body then takes that food, assimilates it into energy, and also assimilates the raw materials of that food, the protein, the carbs, the fat, into your body. So your body is literally made of the food that you eat. So your eye tissue, your liver tissue, your skin tissue, that was all once food that was put into your body that your body assimilates around. That is under control of your hormones. Now, here's where it can get a little heady. And I tried to make it as simple as possible. We're going to just talk about four hormones, I would say the four main hormones in terms of fat loss, or in terms of having ideal body weight, or in terms of having the best testosterone. Now, I don't want to get too complicated. I'm not going to talk about like high insulin, low insulin, or high cortisol, low cortisol. I'm just going to talk about balance. So I'll use the term the good, the bad, and the ugly. Not that these hormones are good or bad. They're just hormones. They're needed. They're necessary in your body. But when things are going well for you, when things are not going well, and then when things get ugly. Okay, so let's start with insulin. Insulin is good. It helps you to store fat. Storing fat is actually a good thing. Your body needs to store fat so that if you skip a meal or something like that, or you're not exposed to food, your body can go in and use those fat stores so you don't starve to death. That's a good thing, okay? It's when it gets out of control that's a bad thing, right? It helps to lower your blood sugar. So the glucose, triglycerides that's in your blood, insulin helps pull those out of the blood into the cells so that your cells get food that's necessary for life. If you don't have that process happening, you would die. And it also helps to build muscle as well, which is obviously extremely important. Okay, when things are not going well with insulin, that leads to high blood sugar, also known as pre-diabetes. It's estimated that as many as 1 in 3 people are pre-diabetic, and apparently that number is going to go up to 1 in 2, which is crazy. And the other thing is that person then cannot fast. They feel like they are hungry. Like if they don't eat, someone's going to get their head bitten off, right? You're hangry, and it's okay to be hangry every once in a while, but if that is like a daily thing, there could be an issue with your insulin. And when it gets ugly, that's going to lead to diabetes, type 1, type 2, muscle wasting. People lose their muscle. So severe diabetics, when it's untreated or undiagnosed, it leads to muscle wasting, and then even neuropathy, especially in the feet. So numbness and tingling into the feet, which is not good because it kills when you're not getting blood sugar to your tissues. When you're not getting energy to your tissues, that tissue dies, and that's your nervous system. Okay, let's move to cortisol. Now, just to go back to insulin for a second, the pretenses here, just to keep it simple, think insulin, we're going to think carbohydrates, okay, that you can control this mainly through carbohydrate intake. Okay, cortisol, also known as your stress hormone. It is a good hormone, okay? If you, God forbid, you're in a fight, you're in an argument, it's going to rush cortisol, adrenaline up so that you get a very quick release of energy, like you're playing a sport or something like that. It's going to send that energy to your major muscle groups so that you can engage in that situation or get out of that situation. That's called fight or flight. Now, what's bad is if that continues and you're having continued exposure to high cortisol levels through a stressful lifestyle, that's going to lead to storage of belly fat. So right around the abdomen, right in that area, the love handles and the little in the front, if you're getting that, I think they used to call that the beer belly, right? And then a few years ago, they were calling that the bread belly. And you know what they call it now? It's called the stress belly, because when stress goes up, that's where the fat goes. So for many of you listening to this, including me, I always say every year my New Year's resolution, it's like, I want abs. I want 6-pack abs. Well, right now, if I squeeze hard, I can see like 2 good ones, maybe kind of 3 and 4, but I want to get rid of that. And a lot of that has to do with cortisol levels. So we're going to talk about that. And when it gets ugly, that's going to lead to things like adrenal fatigue. And then if it gets even worse than that, that's Addison's disease. This is really bad. That's a disease of your adrenal glands themselves. And that's where someone can't get out of bed. That's where someone is gaining extreme amount of weight. They can't lose weight. It gets ugly. So adrenal fatigue is more common than you think. I've personally dealt with adrenal fatigue. It was in 2019. We were seeing at that time, a record number of patients at the office. Things were very busy. Dr. Krista went out when we had our second child, so she went on maternity leave. Now, for some reason, we decided to grow the practice just before she went out on maternity leave. You learn from your mistakes. For our third child, we decided to grow the practice and then kind of scale back and ease off the gas and kind of hit the brake a little bit so that I didn't get adrenal fatigue again. Well, what I noticed is that I was seeing so many people, I don't even know how I did it. And I would go home and my heart rate, I'd be in my car and I'd be driving home. And my heart rate was probably hitting about 130 as I was sitting at a stop sign. And my heart rate was just up all the time. I felt like I was just stressed, and the only thing that made me feel good was just to work harder. It was really weird because my body's just adrenaline, without changing any other lifestyle habits, not changing my diet, anything else. I would just wake up in the middle of the night. I would just be wide awake at 2, 3 in the morning. I would also be wake up. I could be in bed for say 10 hours. I'd wake up and just be exhausted. And then the worst part was having trouble getting to sleep. I would go to bed and I would just be wired. So the thing is, the major sign of adrenal fatigue it's called wired and tired. If you go to bed and you're wired, like you just drank a pot of coffee, and then you lay in bed for 10 hours or sleep as much as you want, and you wake up exhausted, that's a sign that your cortisol is way too high. Now, I'll go through my journey. Part 2 of that story and how I was able to heal that. And we're now, like just last night, I slept all the way through the night. I feel great. This is the best, honestly, I've felt in a long time. And I want to really share that with people because I really believe it's going to change someone's life here tonight. Okay, testosterone. Testosterone is a wonderful hormone for men and for women, obviously with building muscle, strong bone mass, burning fat. It's ideal when you exercise, you want your testosterone to go up. And that's going to help you to build muscle, build your bone mass, and burn fat. We all want that. That's awesome. Okay, when it goes bad, that's going to lead to a reduced sex drive, hot flashes for women, and also fatigue, sluggishness, loss of libido. And when it gets ugly, that's going to lead to things for men: erectile dysfunction in men and women, obesity, enlarged prostate, and even prostate cancer is directly linked to alterations in testosterone. And then for women, PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is not fun because it can really mess with women's, obviously, their menstrual cycle, and even their ability to bear children as well. And that leads to a lot of women getting, hysterectomy and their ovaries removed. Meanwhile, it was a testosterone type issue. Okay, let's move on to estrogen. Typically, we think estrogen, we think women. Estrogen is also in men as well, just not as in high of concentration. So when it's good, this helps to regulate your HDL, which is known as your good cholesterol. Now, I don't like the word good cholesterol or bad cholesterol. It's just cholesterol, but it's the type of protein carrier. So HDL stands for high density lipoprotein. It's not actually cholesterol. That's just an easy way for people to say it, but it's what carries cholesterol from your tissues or the site of injury or from your veins and arteries back to the liver. So it means more cholesterol is going back to your liver than out from your liver, basically means your inflammation is coming down. So having balanced estrogen levels is good for inflammation levels. Also a regulated normal menstrual cycle. Okay, when things go bad, that's going to lead to bone loss. So think osteoporosis, also mood swings, PMS, and then alterations in menstrual cycle. So whether that's long periods or skipped periods or, abnormal bleeding, things of that nature. When it gets ugly, that's going to lead to osteoporosis, early menopause or exaggerated, menopausal symptoms, infertility, and then also urinary tract infections. That's something that I learned recently, is that the mucosal lining of the bladder and the urethra, basically where the urine is stored, the lining of that is thickened or proliferated through your estrogen levels. So if estrogen is off, then that can lead to more urinary tract infections. All right, so let's go through here. So let's imagine someone has, I'll put this X over insulin. Let's say someone's blood sugar's out of whack, they're overweight, they're diabetic. If you're there, let's put an X over the insulin, not to mean that the insulin's gone. It just means that there's a problem with the insulin. So it's affected. You've taken a tool out of your arsenal for burning fat. Then let's say that person, as they get older, for men especially, that testosterone goes down. Okay, they're not working out properly, they're gaining weight, their sex drive's going down. Well, now testosterone's been taken out of your arsenal. Then for women, as they hit menopause, the testosterone and the estrogen start to go down. It's like, uh-oh, we only got one. For a lot of people, they're running on like one hormone here, and that's cortisol. And so if cortisol, again, that's the stress hormone. And if that's off, boom, stress, now you've lost all four, or we've messed up all four of these major fat burning hormones. So people feel like they're stuck. And for some of you listening to this, you signed up for this talk, you did this because it's like, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do. One or more of these hormones could be a major problem for you, or a major stumbling block. So I want to talk about it. It's like, well, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Now, we're always going to go back to the bedrock, right? The bedrock of what we do are the 5 essentials. And every talk that I do, I will show this slide. I will show the problem. I'll show the issue. Here's the solution. And some people say, oh my gosh, it's like, is that always the answer? Yeah. Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful? That it's like, this foundation is on the rock, right? And the rock is that these principles of chiropractic care, proper nutrition, proper mindset, oxygen and exercise, and then minimizing toxins, that's going to get you out of these messes. And I would say 95% of health issues, outside of certain genetic problems, you can get to the cause of the root of and start to reverse these things by living out the 5 essentials. Now, here's the best part, is you can also increase your performance. You can use this to go to the next level in your health. So right now, it's like, for me, I'm not using the 5 essentials necessarily to combat disease process or to reverse disease process. I'm using them to optimize, to run up the score, if you will, to, instead of playing defense with my health, to play offense. So right now, it's like some of you are in the 4th quarter of your life and you're down 100 points. We got to start scoring some touchdowns. We got to get on offense here. So let's get to it. Okay. First thing with mindset, and this is huge. I've said this before many times, using this acronym of CAN and dose. So CAN stands for cortisol, adrenaline, and norepinephrine. These are your stress hormones. When they are elevated, this person is agitated. They are grumpy. You do not want to be around this person. So one thing that we actually say at our office, it's a saying, is like, always think to yourself, is what I'm about to say, is that a CAN statement? Or is this a CAN conversation? Or are we going to have a dose conversation? Now, CAN people, and we've all been there, right? We've all been the CAN type person. But this is the person that calls you and you don't necessarily want to pick up the phone. They're usually the bearer of bad news. They're usually kind of a negative person. We don't want to be that type of person because it sucks the energy out of the room. It sucks the life out of people. And it also sucks the life out of you, because when you're in this state of mind, you're not going to lose weight as effectively. You're not going to have these metabolic processes work for you like they should. So we want to move into what we call dose. And dose stands for dopamine is the first one. So dopamine, well, first of all, it's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Dopamine is your goal-setting, do-it-again hormone. It's centered in your brain, and it's your reward hormone. So for example, I love this story. So my dad, he would cut the grass at our house. And some of you men, you know what I'm talking about right now. He would cut the grass and he was very meticulous. It's like some days he would do it vertically. Some days he would cut the grass horizontally. And if he was really feeling it, he would cut the grass diagonally. And every time after he was done, he would stand out on the porch and just stare at the grass. And I always laugh when I was younger. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you staring at the grass? But he was staring at that job well done. He did that task and he would just stare at it. Do you know why he was doing that? His brain was giving him a dopamine hit. When you set a goal, when you hit a goal, you get a dopamine hit. It's a great feeling. That's why doing seminars like this, and when you're learning and when you're implementing new things, it's good for your mind. It's good to learn. It's good to read. Now, the opposite of this, where you don't want to get dopamine from, are things like social media. When you get the little ding on your phone, when your cell phone goes off, when you get a text or a notification, that gives you a dopamine hit, and people become addicted to how they get their dopamine. So if you're going to become addicted, I don't really like that word, but compel yourself to do it in a healthy way and not a bad way. So setting goals, like I said, is a great way, or having a checklist, writing things down. That's a great way to get your dopamine to go up. Okay, next is oxytocin. Oxytocin, I mean, this is your love hormone. This is the bonding hormone between a mother and a child. When a mother first holds the baby and they're skin on skin, and there's just that deep sense of that unconditional love that a mother has for her child, that is oxytocin. That comes from intimacy, that comes from sexual intercourse, that comes from physical touch. And it's so important. It's your bonding hormone to other people. And it's so important to have physical touch, to hug your spouse, to hug your girlfriend, boyfriend, and just to embrace other people. That, I'm in a profession of touch. Like I touch people all the time in a professional way. And there's oxytocin comes with that. I become bonded with my patients, and it's a wonderful thing. In our society, we become so connected through things like social media, but we become disconnected on the human level. So some simple things for this, it's like obviously hugging, intercourse, also things like petting your dog, and we've all heard of like dogs that go into the nursing home, and just you see the outcomes that come with just the physical touch that comes with that too. Even holding a baby, if you have a grandchild, go watch them, go hold them. You want to come over and hold our baby and watch it for a little bit, let us know. All right, serotonin. Serotonin, 95% of it is housed and manufactured in the gut. So the most important thing are the foods that you're eating. When you get good quality food that we'll talk about here today, your serotonin levels will go up. Serotonin is your happy hormone. It's also your confidence hormone. So like when you get up and you go out for the day, it's like put on those clothes. They call it the little black dress, or the pair of jeans that fit just right, or the clothes that you feel the most confident in. Think about the clothes that you bring on vacation. Those are the clothes you feel the best in. That's going to give you confidence. That's what you want to do. Now, it's not all about appearance and things like that, but there is something to taking care of yourself, taking care of your body. It gives you confidence, and that helps to increase dose in your life. And the last is endorphins, and this would come from proper exercise. So important, exercise. When you exercise, it releases endorphins and you feel great. You feel good. You see those like these marathon runners, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks horrible. Like running 30 miles. Like, why would they do that? They get a hit of endorphins and they feel amazing. So it's important to cultivate these dose hormones. All right, let's move into nutrition. So we talk about macronutrients, which is your fats, your carbohydrates, and your proteins. And here's a big statement here, whether you want to write this down or remember this, is that you cannot supplement your way out of poor eating habits. I have people come in all the time and they're like, what supplement? I just had a conversation a few minutes ago. Dr. Greg, what supplement can I take for this? What supplement can I take for that? And I always say you cannot supplement your way out of poor eating habits. You got to have the eating down first, because again, a supplement it's just a supplement. It's in the word itself. You want to supplement a healthy lifestyle and healthy food. So let's talk about protein. If you want your metabolism to kick up, if you want to start burning fat, you gotta up your protein intake. One of the measures of your basic metabolic rate is called TEF, or your thermal effect of food. Essentially, protein, think of it like throwing a log on a fire. It's going to get that fire really stoked hot. And it stokes at 20 to 30% more than, say, fat would, and several times more than carbohydrates would. So it burns hot. So when you eat protein, it's going to increase your body's temperature. Now, not to the point where you can measure it, but your overall effect of food that's having on your body, it's going to increase your metabolism and burn more calories, because it increases the satiety of food. What that means is you don't have to eat as many calories to get the same amount of satisfaction. So you can eat a smaller amount of protein than, say, carbs or fats, and you're going to get yourself to not eat as much later on, because your body feels more full, because it's getting, again, that thermal effect of food. So what we recommend is eating at least 20 grams of protein 3 times a day. So at the very least for people, that's 60 grams of protein. Now, if you're bigger, and I can kind of estimate for you when if you ask me privately, like I have some people eat 70 grams, 80 grams. Bodybuilders, many times they eat, 100 plus grams a day. It all depends on how much physical output you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So this is a great representation of just what 20 grams of protein would actually look like on a standard size plate. Now, these plates look a little small, maybe medium sized, but you get an idea of, turkey, ground beef, chicken, sardines. So like 3 eggs approximately is 20 grams of protein. And you see here in the bottom right here is whey protein. That's 1 scoop of protein powder. So this is a great representation. You can Google this as well. How much 20 grams? Now you can measure this self out. I don't know. I don't think you have to go that extreme, but you can get a good idea of how much 20 grams of protein is just by looking at these slides. Okay, now fat is good for you. Fat does not make you fat. We now know this. This is like mainstream now. When I used to say this when I started in practice in 2012, people used to look at me like I was crazy because the old way of thinking, the old like 1980s, 1990s, early 2000s way of thinking is that if you want to lose weight, then you don't eat fat. Well, it doesn't work because when you take the fat out of foods, you add in processed foods, you add in other artificial flavorings, and you add in a lot of sugar because fat gives you a lot of great flavor. It also gives you a lot of great properties like omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. And it also is going to help with the basis of your hormones. So all those hormones I talked about, well, not all of them, but some of them, cortisol, testosterone, and estrogen, they are all fat-based or cholesterol-based hormones. So in order for your hormones to be regulated, you have to be eating the right amount of fat. Now, the other hormones I talked about, like dopamine, serotonin, and insulin, they are protein-based hormones. So you have to eat the right amount of protein to get those hormones to be working for you. So some obvious things here. So you want to stick to the right side of the screen: eggs, olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, salmon, nuts, avocados. These are all great sources of fat. And this is where we get into, because the fad diets, and not to say that keto is a fad, it was more of a trend. A trend means it continues on, but you're kind of seeing keto kind of tailor out a little bit. You heard about it a lot, maybe 2017, 2018. That's all people talked about. But you want to focus on doing a clean ketogenic diet. So ketogenic, it means keto to mean fat and genic to generate from. So it's to generate your calories or to generate your energy from fat primarily, and obviously proteins too. So you're eating very low amount of carbohydrates. Now that sounds all well and good, but there's a lot of foods that you see now that will say on them keto certified, and they're full of preservatives. They're full of junk. All they've done is taken the carbohydrates out, and you're filled with a lot of fillers as well. So you got to watch out. So we want to think clean keto, not dirty keto. So right away with your animal products, this is the first change that you want to make. This could be the one thing for some people here. You're listening to this, it's like, what do I change first? Or what do I go to organic first? You want to go with your meats, your protein sources. So this is crazy, but animals, chickens, cows, fish, they must eat 16 pounds of material to produce 1 pound of flesh. So 16 pounds of hay, of grain, of grass, and whatever they're eating to produce that 1 pound of meat. And what are they being fed? Well, look at this. 70% of all medically important antibiotics in the United States are sold for use in animals. So right away, they're getting doses of things like antibiotics, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, things like Roundup and glyphosate, which we now know end up in the food source, end up in the meat, end up on the corn, end up on the grains. I don't know why we thought that wouldn't happen. If you spray pesticide on something, it's going to end up in your body. Now, these fungicides, these herbicides, these bactericides, not only does that affect the animal negatively, but that's shown to affect the person negatively, especially their microbiome or their gut health. Because if you spray a grain and then you eat that grain, or you eat something that ate that grain, that's going to bioaccumulate, or it's going to bioaccumulate up the food chain to you, where that's going to affect your gut health. That's going to affect then your mental health, your ability, your metabolic health, and your ability to lose weight. So we want to think about the advanced plan. And this is the plan that we recommend. There's the advanced plan. There's also the core plan. The advanced plan used to be called the healing plan. This is for someone when they're just starting out, they know they have hormonal dysregulation, metabolic dysregulation. You want to lose weight. You want to do it in the right way. You want to do it in a healthy way. And it also helps you to detox. So the purpose of the advanced plan, you want to burn fat, detoxify, reduce inflammation, and balance your hormones. Okay, that's what we all want, right? So the advanced plan is you're basically sticking to proteins and fats, and you're really reducing the amount of carbohydrates. Now, I would say that this plan is great for about 80% of people. Could just start this type of plan, and I'll give you resources on like how to pull this off here in a minute. Could start this and do great. But there's about 20% of people, maybe more, where they need a little bit more carbohydrate. They might need to eat a little bit more fruit. They might want to do some intermittent fasting or not do intermittent fasting. So what I've learned with my clinical experience and even just preparing for this talk is that it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. So although the advanced plan is very powerful, I've done it many times, I wouldn't say that it's a long-term plan. It's a little more difficult to do in that it is somewhat restrictive, right? You're really limiting your carbohydrates. So what we want to do is get people started on an advanced plan, but then have them shift to what we call the core plan, where we can start adding in some healthy carbohydrates, right? So like quinoa as an example, or like certain types of cereals and crackers and grains and things like that. So you can have those things, but you're just getting them in a healthy way. So some of the top foods that you can eat to boost your metabolism and focus on, and this was cool because when I read this list, I'm like, oh yeah, these foods, like when I eat them, I feel good when I eat these foods. So right away, lemon water, taking a half a lemon and squeezing it in water, having that in the morning is a great way to increase the alkalinity of your body, which helps prepare your metabolism, or prepare basically your digestion to be able to digest those foods more optimally and effectively, so that therefore is improving your metabolism. Salmon, we're going to talk about salmon a lot. Salmon is a great source of protein, a great source of fat, a great source of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, excellent for your metabolism. Also broccoli. Did you know that broccoli and spinach, which is also listed on here, are some of the only foods that naturally contain CoQ10. CoQ10 is a coenzyme. It's a rate-limiting step in what's called the electron transport chain in your body. Essentially, kind of like combustion. So that car is burning gasoline. We call that combustion. When your body, that's called cellular respiration. Well, one of the rate-limiting steps of that is how much oxygen you get. Obviously, that's why you have to breathe, but also how much CoQ10 you have. So it's such the rage to supplement with CoQ10, which is important. And I would recommend CoQ10. It's something I take every day as a supplement, but also getting enough broccoli and spinach is going to also naturally boost that up as well. And then also ginger. And I always knew like herbal teas and ginger teas, and I used to do juicing a lot, Dr. Chris and I, we would always add ginger to that. And it was known that if people are feeling cold, or they get cold fingers or cold feet, doing ginger as a supplement powder or juicing it is very good for that as well, because it does help to boost up your metabolism. Now, just to make things easier for you, go ahead and pull out your phone. And what we've done is we've accumulated shopping lists and guides and advanced plan meal guides, recipes. It's all there. So it's basically a Google Drive folder. So go ahead and scan this, click on it, save that, set it to the side for later. And this is going to include all your shopping lists and kind of what to do as you prepare for the challenge that we're going to talk about here at the end. Okay, let's talk about really firing up your metabolism. This is so important. I think a lot of us miss this. Exercise. So I can't overstate how important that is. It's like, okay, your body's like a car. Okay, you put gas in the tank. That's your food. All right, you know what you need to do though to get that car moving? You got to hit the gas, right? You got to get that engine fired up. So it's exercise. It is an essential. So many people that I talk to who need to lose weight, who are feeling like they're stuck. You're not stuck. You're just not exercising. I'm getting a little fired up right now. That's okay. I'm feeling it. Exercise is so important. If you want to ramp up your metabolism, you got to exercise. Okay. So the more muscle you have, muscle is a metabolic tissue. When you use your muscles, there is a carbohydrate store in the muscle called glycogen. When the glycogen is depleted, let's say someone does a lot of squats, or they do lunges, or they go out for a run. All the glycogen or sugar stores in those muscles get depleted. So then your muscles over the next couple of days, your muscles over the next couple of days have to be restored with the glycogen. Where does that glycogen come from? Well, it depends on what you eat, but it should be coming from your liver, which pulls the triglycerides or the fat from your body, breaks down the fat in your body, goes to your liver, transfers it to glycogen, and then back into your muscles. So if you have more muscle, you're going to pull more fat out of your body. When you have higher fat percentage, less muscle percentage, you're going to have a lower metabolic rate. So right away, if you're feeling like you're stuck, if you're feeling like you can't lose weight, you have to increase your muscle mass through proper exercise. So this is, and I had this conversation earlier in the week. Someone said to me, they said, he's a truck driver, delivery truck driver. So he's moving around a lot. He says, I'm taking a lot of steps each day, or I'm getting my 10,000 steps just from my work. Do I still need to exercise? And the answer is yes, because your steady state is different than someone else's steady state. What's a steady state? Well, it depends on your activity level. For me, I'm moving around a lot. Like today, I adjusted, 80 or 90 people. So I'm moving around, I'm walking, I didn't sit down, I don't think, one time. So my steady state means my heart rate's a little more elevated, but what happens is my body adapts to that. I get used to that. That becomes a new, I don't like the word new normal, but it becomes my body's new normal of that steady state. So what I'm trying to get at is some of you have been walking around the block, with your dog for the last 10 years, and you think that's exercise, but what's happened is your body's gotten used to that. So it's not going to get you to lose weight anymore because that's your new steady state. So you have to get your body in an uncomfortable environment, uncomfortable condition. Now, what I mean by uncomfortable, it's like, oh no, I don't want exercise, it's going to hurt, it's going to do this and that. No. Max T3, it stands for time, type, and tempo. Every patient who's listening to this, you have access to Max T3 on this bookmark here. You can log into maxt3.com, type in your access code, and you get 80 plus workouts. They range between as low as 6 minutes a day to 12 minutes a day to 16 minutes a day. And you're engaging your body high intensity for a short amount of time, right? So the tempo is high. The type is a functional movement like push-ups, like burpees, like squats, like lunges, but for a short amount of time. And that's going to deplete your glycogen stores. That's going to cause your body to start to burn fat. And it's also going to get you to build muscle. All right, now I've been doing Max T3 for the last 11 years, almost 12 years. So for me, Max T3, as much as I love it, and here's the thing, for those of you who haven't done it in a while, or you're just starting out, maybe you can ignore what I'm about to say, but for some of you who've been doing it for a while, you might want to try something different, because again, it can become your new steady state, and you want to confuse your body. Now, your body can't be really confused, but you can give your body new activities to activate your muscles in different ways to start to burn fat more effectively. So I'm going to get into the new type of exercises that I've been doing. But first, I just want to kind of say out loud what some of you might be thinking. Number one, I don't have the time to exercise. Well, I just told you can do it 12 minutes a day. Boom, fix that. I don't know where to start. Okay, we're going to tell you where to start, right? Because it's just like people feel overwhelmed. They're like, I'm not an athletic person. I've never really done this kind of thing before. Like, it's laid out for you. It's too difficult. So I'm going to talk about, in the videos, they talk about modifications. There's people who do it who are in a walker, and are able to do these. It's like your best is different than someone else's best is different than someone else's best. Working out hard looks different for more people. All right, gyms are too expensive. I agree, they can be expensive, but a lot of these workouts you can do at home, or you can go to the gym and join classes. It's all where you want to spend your money, right? I don't feel like working out. It's like, I don't know, that's kind of lame, right? I mean, I used to say that to my mom. She'd be like, okay, Greg, it's time to brush your teeth. And I would say, I don't feel like it. And she'd be like, oh, that's nice. Too bad. Go brush your teeth. It's like, and I'm saying that not to be mean, but it's like your feelings follow your actions. So if you live a life not exercising, you're not going to feel like exercising. That's called cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay. So once you exercise though, how do you feel after? Well, you feel great. It's like most of the times I walk downstairs to go exercise, I don't necessarily feel like doing it, but after I do it, I feel like doing it. I feel great. All right, here's the last one, and I added this in kind of last minute, is I'm in pain. And this is where I want to transition here. Again, my own personal story, dealing with adrenal fatigue, 10 years of adjusting at a high volume of people, things started to catch up with me. You'll notice that I do what we call the kick pedal on the table, the loud, like the table comes up and we push your pelvis down. Well, we do that on at least 6 times per person, sometimes 9 times is based on the protocol. So that's like hundreds of times a day, up to like say 900 times a day I'm kicking that table. That puts strain on hip flexors, IT band. So I was noticing a lot of pressure in my lower back, a lot of pressure in my IT band. Now, don't get me wrong, adjustments, stretching, all that was helping, but I had to do something different. Now, I kept hearing about this program. Now, I'm not a salesperson for DDP yoga, but I'm going to really plug it here. I've been doing this since December. So this is called Power Yoga. This is developed by a man who I grew up watching. His name is Diamond Dallas Page, hence the name DDP. He was a wrestler in WCW and WWE in the late 90s and early 2000s when I was 14, 15 years old. And I loved wrestling. I thought it was great. And you come to learn that these guys, they really beat themselves up. Like, although wrestling, I don't like to use the word fake, it's predetermined who's going to win, but what they're doing is not fake. It's very real. It's very dangerous. He had broken his back 3 different times. He'd even broken his neck twice. So he started doing yoga, but he modified it to suit his own personality and style, which is a little more intense. And so it's nicknamed Power Yoga, where you're doing power type movements, and you can see some of the movements there behind. I don't have a video to show. Things like lunges, your regular ones like down dog and folding forward and warrior and things like that. But you'll notice he's changing a lot of the names to make it fun. One of the things that kind of turned me off from traditional yoga was some of the salutations. And I'm not trying to sound rude or condescending or anything, but a lot of it, I was like, I don't know, is this, as a Christian, can I be saluting the sun and the moon and the stars and doing all this stuff that just didn't feel right for me? So by changing the names and making it more fun and just kind of light and an exciting workout, you're able to stretch, strengthen, and build muscle as you're going through this. So for people, it's like, number one, you want to try something different, or number two, you're noticing a lot of pain, or what I learned is scar tissue in your lower back, in your knees, in your hips. You don't have the mobility. This is going to help you break up that scar tissue and go through these full workouts. Now, the best part about this is although it can look like it's intense, they have all kinds of different levels. So from very beginner, like I just recommended a gentleman who comes in, his name's Dave. He's 80 plus years old. I had him get the senior DVD, where you're basically sitting on a chair and they're bringing you through the moves. Then you go more intermediate and advanced. So just to let you know, I tried one of the more advanced workouts yesterday. It was a 25-minute workout. And during that time, as you're going through the different positions and the kind of the flow of yoga, you're also adding in 100 push-ups throughout. So you leave feeling great. And the best part is I leave feeling stretched out and strengthened at the same time, all in a fairly short amount of time. So the workouts range from as little as 12 minutes. Most of them are 20 to 30 minutes. Some of the longer ones are 60 minutes. So I can't recommend it enough. Again, it's DDP Yoga. You can go on their website. You can get on the mobile app. I just ordered the DVD set because it's easier for me. I just pop it in and I work out at my house. And it's something that's really helped me. And I've noticed a change in my metabolism. Although I love Max T3 and I still do Max T3 periodically, it was something for me with what I was dealing with in my lower back and in my hip flexors. I knew I needed to do something different. All right, let's get into some of the quote unquote biohacks of burning fat. Now, intermittent fasting or fasting, that's been a big trend recently in the last few years. And I want to give some good perspective on this. Intermittent fasting and fasting, will it lower your insulin levels and will it increase your insulin sensitivity? The answer is yes. This is why fasting can help to get your insulin basically under control. So it's great for people who may be on a trajectory towards diabetes through their lifestyle to be doing something like fasting. But here's the thing. And this is a big one here. What I've learned recently is that fasting, if you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, is a big no-no, because as you fast, your insulin levels at a certain point, it depends how long for that person, whether it's 16 hours, 24 hours, however long it is for that person, your insulin levels have to kick up slightly in order to prevent you from going into what's called ketoacidosis. So this is why a lot of doctors, medical doctors, right away, when they hear the word fasting, they'll be like, oh, no, you don't want to fast because you'll go into ketoacidosis. And they're only like 0.25% true, or however many people have diabetes. That would only be true if you had an insulin issue like prediabetes or diabetes. So ketosis is what you want to be in. Ketosis is a state of burning ketones for energy or burning fat. Ketoacidosis is when things get really acidic in your body and that starts to break down muscle and it's not good, right? So you want to do it in a smart way. What we've been actually suggesting to a lot of people is avoiding fasting and avoiding intermittent fasting and actually getting good fuel in right away in the morning. Because a lot of you, if your insulin's out of whack, your cortisol's out of whack, the testosterone, estrogen, those hormones are out of whack, you want to use this as a tool, but you don't want to use this as a prolonged lifestyle. Another thing here is that there's a big mindset component with fasting and intermittent fasting. So for me personally, you don't want to be around me if I'm fasting or intermittent fasting. I need to eat. In the morning, I wake up and it's actually a good thing. It's like when you wake up, you should be hungry within like either immediately or within a half hour. And if you're not, that could be an issue metabolically. But it's like when your body's telling you to eat, like yesterday, I did a big workout where I did 100 push-ups in about 25 minutes. When I woke up this morning, my body's like, you need to eat. So like I ate within 45 minutes of being up. Like I had a big smoothie. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to starve myself when my body's trying to tell me to eat food. But here's the thing. You got to eat the right kind of food. So we're going to change how you break fast or do breakfast. So you'll notice here, the word breakfast comes from to break fast. Because when you're not eating for 8 hours, 10 hours, or 12 hours, however long you're sleeping, you want to make sure that you're getting in especially protein, the right kind of nutrients, and getting in good carbohydrates in the morning to get your metabolism going. So you notice here, this woman, she's drinking looks like a green smoothie. You see oranges, you see kiwi, you see coconut, you see ginger. That's an excellent way to break fast. Now I would follow that up with some kind of protein source. So that would be eggs are excellent. Do you know that eggs are considered the perfect protein? Meaning all other protein sources are measured against eggs to whether or not they're a good source of protein, because eggs has all the essential amino acids, all of them. It's one of the few foods that has all of your essential and non-essential amino acids. What I personally do in the morning, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, is our protein powder. with berries, a half a banana, coconut milk, and the protein powder. I can't remember if I said protein powder. So it's the coconut milk, half a banana, protein powder, and the berries. Now, a lot of people, I know what you're thinking, but Dr. Greg, the banana's not at the advanced plan. And what I would say is, if I don't put a banana in, my kids aren't going to drink it. So I just put the banana in. Actually, you know what? I've noticed it tastes good. And I only put about a half in. So yes, it's a source of sugar, but fruit is a good type of sugar. And that's going to give me my protein, my carb, and my good fat right off the bat. So I can't recommend enough the protein powder, Max Living brand. It's from grass-fed cows raised in Sweden. So they're completely grass-fed. So there's no junk, there's no sugar, there's no binders, there's no fillers. Yes, it's a little more expensive than your Joe Blow protein shake out there at whatever store, big bulk store, but it's high quality. You want to go whenever something's processed, whenever something is more concentrated down, like a protein powder, you got to go for high quality. And I've been using this stuff again, 10 plus years. It's excellent. Every person, I would say, that gets this stuff and they've been using and they're used to getting other protein powders, I could tell you dozens, if not hundreds of testimonies of people who are like, oh my gosh, this actually tastes good. Like we take the chocolate protein powder and we use there's whey protein. We also have the bone broth protein and we mix it up with some warm water for the boys. That's their hot chocolate, right? Or like we mix it up with a little almond milk at the end of the day. You know, when kids, it's like just before bed, they're like, I'm hungry. Great. Here's what we call chocolate milk, which is the chocolate protein powder in some almond milk. So it's a great source of fat and protein and virtually no carbohydrate. So this is great. And again, you're listening to this talk, all these products I'm going to talk about, just mention that you listened here tonight or on the recording, and you do get 10% off. All right. Another one that we want to unveil that we've had the last couple months is called the Daily Essentials Packets. So these packets contain your multivitamin, which is your B vitamins and essential minerals. So minerals, think of those like the spark plugs for your metabolism, and that minerals are essential in order to keep your metabolism moving along. So it's like the spark plug that fires up the engine. Those are the minerals. Okay, vitamin D3, which contains 5,000 international units, contains magnesium glycinate, which is excellent for sleep. Obviously, it's a great mineral just for overall your muscles and things like that. B complex, and then also optimal omega, so a great source of fat. So all of these separately, right? When you just having that in that convenient packet that you take out in the morning and you have that, you're saving $39 compared to buying those separately. So a lot of you are getting these supplements. You can save yourself some serious money by getting the daily essential packets, save some money there. And again, you get 10% off if you mention this talk. The other one, if you're looking to add in for exercise recovery and also fat burning, I personally use Max Fit. I have been for years. I love this supplement. Unfortunately, it's really underutilized at our office. And you'll notice that because you see how it's in the white kind of packaging here. That was their old school packaging. It took a while to get those to be used up at the office, so I knew it wasn't being used a lot. But Max Fit contains tyrosine. It also contains cysteine and glycine for muscle repair. So it helps you to, like, people take it, and if they're sore after workouts a lot, it eliminates or reduces muscle soreness because it's giving your muscles what they need to repair. It also contains decaffeinated green bean extract, which helps to lower your cortisol levels naturally, and that's going to help out a lot. Now, carnitine is good for your brain, but it also helps to pull fat into the mitochondria to be burned off. So carnitine is something that's naturally occurring in your body. So if you get carnitine supplement, it's great if you're looking to ramp up fat burning. So those are two great supplements there too. All right, let's move into toxicity, because a lot of people, you're listening to this, you're like, you know what? I exercise, I'm eating well, I'm doing those two. I have a good mindset, all right? I'm 3 for 3 on these essentials. Let's go to the last two. Toxicity, xenoestrogens, or commonly known as obesogens, meaning that these metabolism disruptors, or these toxic elements, are what are called xenoestrogens in your body, or they mimic estrogen. And so that can lead to things like estrogen dominance and low estrogen because they block the estrogen receptors. So basically your cells, they have receptors for many different hormones. One of those is for estrogen. These xenoestrogens, or these metabolism disruptors, or what are called endocrine disruptors, block those receptor sites. So estrogen doesn't bind to those cells. So the effects that estrogen was going to have on the body are lost. So again, that can lead to things like osteoporosis. That can lead to menstrual issues, infertility, and loss of muscle mass. It can also lead to estrogen dominance or low estrogen, which can then lead to hot flashes, menopause issues, PCOS, all these different things that people don't want. So take a close look at this list here. And these are commonly found in standard. If you're just getting like the standard cleaners, there's so many out. I call people, maybe this isn't nice, but don't be a poser. What does that mean? Don't go out and you get all organic food, you're spending all this money, and you're getting adjusted, you're getting the right kind of supplements. Then if I come and visit your house and you're using like Clorox and you're using bleach and you're using standard makeups and cosmetics and you're using like Old Spice and Irish Spring and Dove soap and all this kind of stuff, it's like, don't be a poser. You got to switch out your cosmetics. You got to switch out your cleaning products. Now, these are all things, we have all kinds of resources at the office. Come in, ask us what to do. We have all kinds of resources that we can give you in order to reduce these things in your household and getting into your body and around your children as well. So how do you support natural detoxification? We're going to talk about lemon water again. So number one is your antioxidants, whether that's citrus fruits, berries, taking supplements like N-acetylcysteine. That was big when COVID was going on. People were asking a lot about quercetin and N-acetylcysteine. Those are big time antioxidants in the body. So is vitamin E. Vitamin E is a big time antioxidant. Next one is making sure that you're getting the right amount of water and the right kind of water. So filtered water, reverse osmosis water is great. Avoiding tap water is a great step. And getting enough water. How much is enough? Half your body weight in ounces. So you can drink half your body weight in ounces. You're going to help to flush out a lot of the cellular toxins in your body. And it's also going to help you, like, what's the number one cause of kidney issues? What's the number one cause of a lot of gut issues? What's the number one cause of constipation? Not having enough water. So if you just hydrate yourself, you're going to fix a lot of problems right there. And then number three is exercise again, sweating, working out so that you are sweating and you're pushing those toxins out through your skin. Your skin is your body's largest detox organ. Your body's largest detox organ is your skin. So you want to be sweating regularly, multiple times per week, by working out past and beyond your steady state so that you challenge your body. Now, a great product to get. And I just gave this to a patient the other day. He's actually a friend of mine. And he said, he was on vacation and he's been away a lot. And he noticed he was feeling like just kind of bloated, not feeling good, just kind of sluggish. I was like, dude, you need to go on the detox. So the detox is there's a cell detox and body detox. So it comes as two different bottles of capsules. So in the cell detox, it contains N-acetylcysteine, probiotics, prebiotics, and digestive enzymes. So that's what you take in the morning. That's kind of the scrub brush, getting all the toxins out of your cells, out of your gut. Then at nighttime, you take the body detox, which is essentially activated charcoal, magnesium oxide, and also psyllium husk fiber. And what these do is it just helps with normal elimination or normal bowel movements. This is not a laxative. This is very gentle. It's very safe and extremely effective. I take this at least 2 times per year, and I always notice that I feel better by taking this. And that same friend I told you that took this system, he texted me just by taking the first batch, the cell detox, the first day. He sends me a text. He's like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, my bloating is gone by just starting the detox. And he was only halfway through the first day out of 30 days. So imagine what the results are going to be after a month. This also helps with fat loss, because when you get those toxins out of your body, where are toxins stored? they're stored in your fat cells. So when you get those toxins out, it allows those fat cells to be unlocked to allow for more fat burning to occur instead of being clogged up with toxicity. All right, here we go. This is the big point of the whole night. So pay attention. Are you feeling stuck? I know this is not the best image. Like this poor lady, she's got to like pose for this as a model. It's like, you're going to be the person who's trying to pull their pants together. So feeling stuck. Some people, you're listening to this, it's like, again, you're like, okay, I'm doing the detox. I'm doing all the stuff you said. I'm still not getting the results. This is why we do what's called max metabolics. It's specific blood and urine testing to know exactly what deficiencies are going on in your body. So it's measuring mitochondrial dysfunction or the energy pathways in your body. It's also measuring toxic exposure. So a lot of those different toxic elements I showed a few slides ago, it tests for those. It also tests for methylation or how well your liver is working. And then also, very importantly, for oxidative stress or how much stress your body is under on a cellular level. And then also your fatty acid balance or how much omega-3, omega-6 balance that you have. So it's going to give you, and go ahead and click on that QR code, and it's going to bring you to an updated video that Haley went ahead and put together. And it's a great video, and it really spells out this program much more in depth than what I'm going to share in the next couple minutes. But it's basically going to give you, okay, here's exactly what's going on. Here's an X-ray of your physiology, an X-ray of your metabolism. This is exactly your deficiencies. And here's the best part. We give you this sheet over here. It says patient recommendation sheet, and we'll give you the exact supplements and dosages that are specific to you so that you're getting the right type of supplements. So number one, in the long run, it's going to save you money because you're not taking unnecessary supplements. It's going to save you time. And then it's going to save you just, okay, what am I taking the right supplements? Am I doing this the right way? Am I doing this right? It's going to take all the guesswork out of it. So if you're interested, go ahead and click on that QR code. It'll send you to a video that'll go more into depth. I'm just kind of going to explain a little bit about it. So we're basically testing for vitamin or mineral deficiencies, blood sugar imbalance, inflammation, heavy metals, toxins, GI distress, so your gut, stress hormones, fatty acids, and also your amino acids, or whether or not you're getting the right amount of protein in. So it's going to kind of hit the nail on the head of all the different things we were talking about here tonight. Now, an amazing testimony. This isn't our first rodeo with this now. We unveiled this program a few months ago. So it's much, I would say it's getting better all the time. Haley and I are learning more about it. It's become much more streamlined, meaning it's become very effective. And if you're getting it now is a great time because the program is really ramped up. And I would just say we're just that much better at delivering the goods in terms of getting you the results that you need. So Suzanne, she's been a patient since May of 2021. Since that time, she has lost 75 pounds. It's amazing. So she started out, she did the advanced plan, right? She was exercising. She was following the 5 essentials to the best of her ability. And it was working for her. But as she was going along, like many of you are thinking now, she felt like there was still something missing. She wasn't quite sleeping as well as she could. She wasn't quite having the energy that she felt that she could have with everything that she was doing. So since she did this program, has been taking the supplements and following through, she's feeling amazing. She feels an overwhelming sense of happiness and well-being. So just in the first month of taking these supplements, the proper supplements for her, she noticed that her hair was getting thicker. So that's a sign of the right amount of protein, the right amount of minerals. Itchy skin completely gone on her arm. She had itchy skins. Again, that's your fatty acids. No more heat flashes or lightheadedness. Women who are listening to this, are you dealing with hormonal imbalance? Heat flashes, perimenopause or menopausal symptoms. Losing even more weight, it ramped up for her. She continued to lose weight. She didn't get stuck. How many of you listening to this, you've lost 20 pounds, maybe 15 pounds, you feel stuck? This will help you go to the next level. Sleeping better. Month 2, first time in her adult life not getting sick over the holidays. Hair holding dye longer because it's thicker. Still losing weight, getting lots of compliments from other people. People are noticing, like when you're around her, she's just like glowing. She's just doing great. and skin so much healthier. So why is that? Why does your skin get healthier? Your skin is the last organ in your body to receive nutrition. So when someone has skin issues, dry skin, chapped skin, thinning skin, brittle skin, that's a sign of nutritional or metabolic or mineral imbalance. And when the skin gets healthy, you basically know the rest of the body is getting healthy. So this program, it includes your first test. So you get the testing kit. You send that off via FedEx to Genova Diagnostics. They then send us the results. We interpret those results for you. This also includes your first month of supplements, 4 consultations with Haley between half hour to an hour each. We also do a retest. So Suzanne, she's about to do her retest where we'll test everything again and see what changes occurred, and an additional consultation to go over that. Now, I can tell you we've priced compared to other areas because, you look at this, it costs $1,900 for all that. Some of you are like, that sounds like a lot of money. Local labs in the area and even the MSRP or what they recommend, about $2,500 just for the testing alone, not even the consultations. Do you know that naturopaths, many of them, the standard rate is about $600 an hour just for their interpretations, never mind the supplements. So I have no problem, with that price. We're very comfortable with that. I think it's actually very generous. It's a real simple process, and you'll get to the bottom of what's going on. And you know what? We're only doing 5 enrollments per month. So you'll be getting very specific attention with Haley and myself. Dr. Krista will be following up with you and helping you, making sure that you're moving to the next level. So it's a very concentrated and intimate process. We're only doing 5 enrollments a month. It's very much in demand. We're actually, the next ones available, I believe, are in April and into May. So if you want to take advantage of this, I would do it now. You can go ahead if you're interested. Text the word testing to 717-627-0365. That, by the way, that's your appointment reminder number. So when you get reminders of your appointments, you can reply to that. Just type in testing. Now, if you've listened to this talk or you listen to the recording, we're also offering $50 off as a little sweetener there. So take advantage of that. If you're even been thinking about doing it, a lot of people you're listening to, like, I've been thinking about doing it. Take advantage of it now, because we're going to have a lot of people sign up for it in the next few weeks, and we're going to be pushing it out for months. So it's a great program. It's definitely something that's in demand, and we're seeing a lot of great testimonies with that. All right. I want to go into chiropractic. And I say this all the time, but it's definitely the missing link in healthcare. Maybe not for the people on this call right now, maybe for some of you if you're a guest. But what does chiropractic have to do with stress? What does it have to do with cortisol? What does it have to do with weight loss? Well, your spine protects your nervous system, which controls all the cells, tissues, organs in your body. So your metabolism is under the control of your spine and nervous system. So the word health, if you look at the root of the word health, is to heal. So the question is, what controls healing the body? Again, your nervous system. So subluxation is misalignment or stress or inflammation of the spinal joints, nerves, and tissues in the associated area. That then leads to a cascading effect of a stress response. And this video I'm going to play you here is with Dr. Dan Sullivan, who's a chiropractic researcher, and also Dr. Josh Axe. Many of you will know him from his popular website and social media page.
Back to your point about that joint not moving.
And of course,
the reason why in the spine, why a joint not moving in the spine is so much more sensitive to affecting the brain and neurology is because your spine is point about that joint not moving. The reason why in the spine, why a joint not moving in the spine is so much more sensitive to affecting the brain and neurology is because your spine is loaded with little tiny neurons, tiny little neurons that, unlike anywhere else, in fact, there's parts of the spine that have them way more loaded or densely populated than other parts. The number one area is in the upper neck.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So this is why when people say, well, man, I just don't understand why, if I don't have a pinched nerve, how could it affect my central nervous system? And the reason is because all these tiny little neurons, they need movement. They need free movement. And so when your spine doesn't move appropriately, one little bone, right, one little joint, it affects these, what we call mechanoreceptors. That sparks this, this cascade of events that happens into the brain. That's what triggers the stress hormones negatively. Puts that body in that dominant stress response as if you're being chased by a tiger or a bear. And now these hormones are starting to kick out of the body that you don't want long term. They're good short term, but long term you don't want them. So, and again, most people know the fight or flight, situation, fight or flight hormones. So there's been studies. There was a great study in 2014 that really pointed out when people got adjusted, those stress hormones were reduced. And again, when we know that happens, you can name it. That's why energy, sleep, digestion, fertility, all those start to change. Organ function changes. It's not because there's a pressing of a nerve. It's because that spine is so delicately and intimately connected to the brain.
Yeah, great video. And that study he was talking about, he mentioned this study in 2014. And I show this all the time to patients. When you're first coming in, you might remember me going over this when I was reviewing your x-rays, is when your spine is out of alignment, it increases cortisol. It reduces serotonin. This is if you have subluxation, so you're not being adjusted. Cortisol goes up, serotonin goes down, testosterone goes down. So right away, your stress is up. That's why I always joke. It's like you're a pain in my neck, you're a pain in my back, you're on my last nerve. Your serotonin, your happy hormone goes down. Now testosterone, which is your fat burning muscle building hormone, that goes down. So this is a person who is more prone to gaining weight, is temperamental, right, edgy, and they're just not a happy person. That's most of society. Now, what people start to notice is when they get adjusted is these hormones start to regulate. They feel better. Like I just talked to a patient, my last patient I saw today, his name's Brennan. He's probably listening right now. He's been coming in for 2 months. He's like, this is the best I felt like ever. He's like, I'm so thankful that I'm getting adjusted because like neck pain's gone, headaches are gone, stress levels coming down, overall sense of wellness. That's what we're going for. It's more than just getting your neck cracked, getting your back popped. This is about regulating your hormones. And a lot of this comes through your repetitive, like what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So when your head is at 0 degrees, looking straight ahead here on the left, it weighs 10 to 12 pounds. When you're looking down at your phone, you're sitting on your computer, you're in a stress position, your head gains about 50 pounds of pressure on the base of your neck. So stress and pressure in the neck, stress and pressure in the back, that increases cortisol levels. So if you learn it, one of the big things to learn, or it could be the one thing for some people listening, hold your phone up, get your kids to hold their tablets up, their phones up, get people to hold their body up in the right posture because it increases your serotonin, it increases your confidence, it decreases your cholesterol. That's what's going to help you. All right, so here's a push here. Patients, please do your home care. You want to get results with your adjustments. You want your x-rays to change and get better. You want to, decrease your back pain, your inflammation. You want to feel better. Great. Do your exercises at home. Like you have them all there. If you want us to review them with you, we will, no problem. That means your sleep rolls, wearing those at night, your wobble cushion, doing that in the morning, at night, your neck traction. You go on vacation, bring that thing with you. This neck traction goes with you. If you're away from your, if you're away 12 hours or more, that thing comes with you. It's like, you got to do those neck tractions to get that curve to come back in. That's what's going to help your body to regulate those hormones. So now if you're listening to this, you're a guest, or you've tuned in, maybe you're watching this video sometime out in the future. These are the warning signs that you have spinal misalignment. And a lot of these warning signs, they look like a lot of the other warning signs that I showed today. Why is that? Well, because again, your nervous system is intimately connected with every aspect of your body, and your spine is what protects that. So when your spine is out of alignment, that's going to lead to a lot of these problems. Now, if you're a patient of mine, I want you to think of your family, your husband, your wife, your kids. Are they getting adjusted? Why not? Why? People are like, I'm concerned. We're busy. We're concerned about finances. We have family plans. We have times in the early morning, the late afternoon, we're doing everything we can to remove all barriers so we can see your whole family. That's why our office is called Lidditz Family Chiropractic. So it's not just you getting well, it's everyone in your house getting well. It's not just you getting healthy, it's everybody getting healthy so you can move to the next level together as a family. So for those of you listening, and again, this offer stands for patients. You have friends, coworkers, family members. What we're offering is, again, the first visit, going over your history, consultation, exam, and also the specific nerve scanning that we do in the back room, the exam room of the office, and also any necessary x-rays. You get 50% off. So normally it's only $140. If you get this like full spine x-rays at a hospital, that's like hundreds, if not, thousands of dollars. It's only $140 anyways, but you get 50% off. So it's only $70. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's very simple process, and we'll bring you through that. Okay. The challenge, get your phone ready. Take a picture of this. We'll also have a QR code in a second here. The 30-day challenge, it's going to be on you this time. Let us know at your next appointment or text us that you're doing it, and we will follow up with you and we will help you along. But the goal is that you'll be doing this challenge as a progress picture, or you take a picture of where you're at. You don't have to show anyone. So the goal is to lose inches, right? Or you want to trim up. Protein shake and daily supplements, 2 advanced planned meals, drinking half your body weight amount in water. Doing 1 45-minute workout. So that could be like a power yoga workout, or it could just be a 12-minute workout if you're doing something like the Max T3, or if you go to the gym, or for some of you, like, start small, go for a walk. If you've been walking, go for a run, go for a jog, start, challenging yourself to get your heart rate up, get yourself sweating, focusing on getting your chiropractic adjustments, being good, not missing appointments, doing your home care exercises. Here's might be a tough one. Let's focus this 30-day challenge. Let's go for no cheat meals, no alcohol. A lot of people they say, well, I'm doing the 80-20 rule, 80% good, 20% bad. Let's ramp that up to 95%. During this 30 days, maybe 1 or 2 times you have a little, treat here and there, but let's just go for really stringent on reducing it. Because again, alcohol, it's full of carbohydrates, it's full of gluten, it's full of toxicity, never mind the alcohol that's in there. And then also challenging your mind, whether that's reading your Bible, picking a great book. I recommended a book at the start called The One Thing. Challenge yourself to at least do 10 pages of reading, exercise your mind. Instead of being focused on the news or the events of the world, be in control of what you put in your mind. That's so important. All right, here's the QR code. It'll bring you directly to the challenge, give you more of an idea here that you can save. We also can give you a printout if you'd like at the office. So go ahead, take a picture of this. Give you a second. Okay. All right. This is key. This is the key for some of you. I know some of the people listening, you're thinking about doing something, you're not sure. One of the biggest keys to success in business, in life, in health, finances, athletics is speed of implementation. Right now, you have the information. You got to move to action right away, like quick. The faster you get the information and you act on it and you do it. You find your one thing and you just start plugging away and you start doing it. The faster you do it, the faster you're going to get results. Everybody wants the results. Everyone wants line number 3 here, but you got to move from information to action. So right now, again, your metabolism is your car. You're sitting in your car. You've started the engine, right? You know where to go. You have the GPS is on. You have your challenge. You have your go. Okay, it's time to hit the gas. It's time to hit the gas. It's time to get moving. Speed of implementation. Then you will get your results. So many times people come in, they're like, why aren't I feeling better yet? Why haven't I lost weight yet? It's because you haven't moved to action. You haven't fully committed. So here's a wonderful quote. This is like, I've just been hitting this over and over again, reading this over and over again. It's time. Growth is painful. Change is painful, but nothing is more painful than staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. Some of you, you're somewhere you don't belong right now. You're wearing maybe a pant size that you don't belong in right now. You have a waistline you don't belong in right now. You have conditions or there's medications in your house that don't belong there. Now, they may be your reality, your present right now, but they do not have to be your future. They do not have to be your future. So I urge you, start taking action. So here's some action steps. Number one, again, you can complete your LRQ or your lifestyle risk questionnaire to see where you're at with your lifestyle. Number two, gather your resources. So you have your challenge, all those QR codes that you have. We can print you out ones at the office as well when you come in your next appointment, whether that's the shopping list, whether that's the meal plan guides, whether that's your recipes, whether that's the challenge itself, whether that's the type of workout that you're going to do. So right now, the next day or two, you're getting your resources, you're getting everything ready, okay? Number three, you're going to start your challenge. Now, I underline the word your because it's going to be different. Some of you, you're not going to do a 30-day challenge. Maybe you're going to do a 2-week challenge, a 21-day challenge. Maybe you're just going to pick your one thing, which we'll talk about in a second. And for some of you, you're going to sign up for Max Metabolics. You're going to start that. You're going to get the testing done. You're going to see where you're at. Again, text the word testing to our appointment reminder number. That'll get the ball rolling. Check out the video that we did and decide if it's right for you. All right, so we're here. We're back to where we started. What is your one thing? So what is it? What are you going to do to make 2022 your healthiest year yet? So for me personally, I'm sticking with exercise. I'm doing that power yoga and some Max T3, and I'm doing that at least 5 days a week. And in fact, since I'm doing this, you know what? I'm bumping that to 6 days a week. So Dr. Chris is gonna be like, oh, great. I got to hear the grunting and moaning in the basement now. But that's my one thing right now is just exercise and just ramping up muscle mass and getting lean and getting, just doing that. So that's my one thing. What's yours? Is it drinking more water? Is it eating more protein? Is it exercising more? Is it doing Max Metabolics? Is it doing the challenge? Is it following the advanced plan? What is it? And it should jump out at you. It should be very obvious when you ask yourself the question, what is the one thing I could do such that everything else would be easier or unnecessary? So whatever you want to do, you want to lose weight. And if you could only do one thing in the whole world to do it, what would it be? Write that down and start doing it. And that's the whole challenge here, is just the implementation of the knowledge. So we're back where we started with purpose, the standard for natural healthcare, where everyone is empowered to live to their full potential. I hope that this information empowers you into action so that you can start to make changes not only for yourself, but you can start to influence your own circle of influence, your family, your friends, that people will start to notice the changes that you're making, and they'll want that because they see the difference in you and they can start to see that difference for themselves. And we can become leaders in this world that has become so sick, so full of stress, and just so crazy that we can be the sanity in a world that has gone so nuts. So I hope this has blessed you and inspired you. And I'm going to hang on here. This is the end of the recording, but I'm going to hang on here for a few minutes to answer any questions. You can either type them into the chat or I can answer your questions here. I'm going to open up in just a second. So thank you for listening.